Yes, yes, yes. What's happening, people? Just gonna go on live right now. Just speak about the boxing news. Speak about the last weekend's fights, and just chop it up. Talk about anything, man. I'm only gonna be on here for about half hour or so, maybe a bit longer. But yeah, just gonna jump on this live stream. Some updates, pretty much with regards to Fury and AJ. We saw Eddie Hearn come out today, so I'm going to speak about that. It seems like that there was some positive discussions between Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, which is a good sign. Also, we've got obviously the big fights coming up this weekend. We've got Triple G in action on the Friday, making a mandatory defense, and I'm not going to try and butcher the guy's name, but he's got a mandatory defense on Friday, so it'd be good to see Triple G back. He hasn't been in the ring since like October 2019. So it's good to have Triple G back, man. Always been a fan of him. And obviously the big fight this weekend as well between Canelo and Callum Smith. So there's a lot going on. But yeah, I'm going to speak about AJ and Fury first, give my thoughts on that particular update. Will the fight happen next? Will there be any hurdles in the way to overcome? Going to chop it up, man. And you guys just, well, as you guys come into the stream, just add your questions in. I'll answer them and we'll just go from there, man. So I'm not expecting there to be too many people in this stream. I don't have that many subscribers on this channel yet, but we're building. We're building. And at the end of the day, these are the sort of things to increase the interaction. So yeah, these sort of streams, just getting people involved, letting people make their comments and stuff. Once it gets out there to everybody, then yeah, I'm sure we'll get more subscribers in. But as of now, you guys are locked in, and whoever is locked in, what's going on? Feel free to add any comments. Let me know your thoughts with regards to AJ and Fury. Now, as I said in the stream, like the post-fight reaction last weekend, I was very impressed with AJ, man. I've seen a lot of people come out and say that they wasn't that impressed and Fury demolishes AJ and whatever. And listen, that could be the case. Fury could end up going in there and he could end up dominating Anthony Joshua. I mean, he did it to Wilder. Obviously, they're not the same fighter, AJ and Wilder, but Fury, he's got it in him. He's a fantastic fighter. So I'm not saying that Fury can't defeat Wilder, but AJ. But what I would say with regards to Anthony Joshua's performances, it was very good for me. We have to consider he's been out of the ring for over a year, and he's fighting a tough challenger in Kubrat Pulev. I did expect him to win, as the majority of people did, but he went in there and he did his thing, knocked the guy down 4 times, stopped him in the ninth round. And, what more can you really expect from him? So the people that are criticizing him, people can have some sort of reservations with regards to his performance. Some people still think that the ghosts of Andy Ruiz are still kind of in there with AJ, and it will take him a while to get over those demons. I mean, when you look at it, it was a huge upset that he suffered against Andy Ruiz back then, and he did beat him in the rematch, but those ghosts are probably still in his head, like for sure. I mean, when he had Pulev down in the third round, I immediately thought, yeah, this is over now. Like AJ is going to go out there, he's going to take care of him. But he nearly did get him out of there. But credit to Pulev, he showed his survival instincts. He managed to survive through it, and it took AJ a few more rounds to get him out of there, but he did. So I was all in all impressed with the performance. There's still a lot of things to work on, but yeah, with regards to Fury and AJ, as I said in my post-fight reaction, I did say that I think Fury would have to be the favorite, but I wouldn't rule out AJ at all. I think that it's going to be very difficult, a difficult fight for both men. I think both men are going to have their struggles in this particular fight, and let's just hope that it does actually happen. So big up everybody coming in the chat. I mean, there's a few people in here. There's some comments as well. I'll get to your questions in a bit. Like I said, I'm just really just going to just speak my piece, and anybody that joins in, just answer your questions. I'll be happy to answer. So big up Ian Hamilton. He says, hi, mate. Let's hope these positive discussions lead to the fight we all want. Thoughts on Lawrence Okoli as well. Now, yeah, I was very happy to see Eddie Hearn come out today, speak to Sky Sports. Those that haven't seen the interview, it's out there now. Eddie Hearn basically said that he's already held discussions with Bob Arum, who tweeted by himself. Bob Arum tweeted on the actual night of the fight, saying that they'll get into discussions with Eddie Hearn on the Monday. And yeah, it looks like that we're on our way to making it happen. I know the financial terms were agreed previously, but obviously there are a few hurdles to still overcome. But to see Eddie Hearn come out today, kind of confirm what Bob Arum was saying, that the talks were positive and they're confident that the fight will happen. That was very good for me. They're looking at it being May, hopefully. Obviously, we've got the situation with the WBO. We've also got the situation with Deontay Wilder and his team. But Eddie Hearn was asked these particular questions, and he's still positive. So if he's positive and Bob Arum's positive, then we can be positive as well, right? So, like you said, Ian, let's hope that these positive discussions lead to the fight that we all want. With regards to Lawrence Okolie, I thought he was fantastic on Saturday night, man. He looked very assured, and he looks very good under Shane McGuigan, man. I think that partnership is looking very good so far. There's still a lot to work on, but Okolie just went in there, man. I know that the opponent was like a late replacement. It wasn't who he was supposed to fight, but at the end of the day, you can only beat who's put in front of you, man. And he put on a great performance. He looked razor sharp. And those right hands, man, he had his legs doing the chicken dance. It was crazy. Lawrence Okolie looked good, and he's ready for his shot next year, man. I really hope he does get it. Cruiserweight is a very tough division, as we all know, but Lawrence Okolie looks ready, man, and you have to rate the progress, what he's achieved in his career so far, getting up to this point, and he's only going to get better with Shane McGuigan in the corner for sure. So I was very impressed with Lawrence Okolie's performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. So big up yourself, Ian Hamilton. Thank you also for coming into the chat on the weekend, the post-fight reaction. That was pretty cool. We'll definitely get you on a few more. And let me get to another comment here. Big up, IA. Thank you for your comment. And he's put, or she, sorry, is AJ the most analysed fighter in boxing? Everything is looked at compared to others. I don't know, really. I think that AJ, yeah, there was a lot of people analysing his performance. I noticed over the weekend as well. Even fighters, like, there was a lot of negative comments as well. I mean, a lot of fighters were saying that he should have got Pulev out of there. But Pulev's only had one defeat, and he did get him out of there in the end. I think that it's because of AJ's status. I mean, he is one of the biggest attractions in world boxing. So when you are that particular type of, that fighter, and you're at that sort of level, there are going to be people that will nitpick your performance, man. So yeah, I think that there was a lot of people out there looking at his performance, wanting to see how he got on. I think over the last few fights with AJ, he hadn't displayed that, destructive performances that he was having earlier on in his career. Like when he was taking out the likes of Dominic Brazil, and he knocked out Dillian Whyte, and he was knocked out Charles Mine. When he was on that streak where he was just knocking every man out, I think that now, because he kind of had to adapt his game after the Ruiz loss, yeah, I've seen people analyse his fights probably more than others, but it's to be expected. It comes with the program, man. When you're at that level, people are going to overanalyze and maybe criticize your performances and stuff. So he's on the verge of having, the biggest fight in boxing right now with him and Tyson Fury. And yeah, I'm sure there were loads of eyes on him. I'm sure he felt the pressure as well. And to be fair to him, he went out there and took care of business, because a win over Pulev, for me, it probably wouldn't have been enough for a lot of people. I mean, the way how they were, a lot of people were analysing that fight, I think that a knockout had to happen. I think that people were expecting him to be at his destructive best, and there's still a way to go for him to get there. And I think he'll need to improve even more if he's to defeat Tyson Fury. But he can do that. He can do that. It's not out of the realms of the possibility. So, yeah, I totally agree. I think that he is analysed a lot, but it just comes with the program, man. So thank you for your comment. And let's go to another one right here. Daniel Wilson-Singh. Thank you for the comment, bro. He's put, do you think Usyk should step aside? Well, I'd love Usyk to step aside. I'm sure many of us boxing fans would love him to step aside. But if you're Usyk and your team, you'd be thinking, well, why should I? I don't have to step aside. But when you look at it, the bigger picture, obviously you've got the undisputed heavyweight title fight on the line, all the belts on the line. Usyk would be in line next to fight the winner for sure. So, yeah, maybe his management team might want to do that. But then in the meantime, in the interim, what's Usyk going to do? He's fighting fit now. He'd probably have to take an interim fight in between. And then that's a risk for him. If he takes that risk and then let's say he gets a bad cut, or like at worst he loses, then that could be his opportunity gone. So I guess you do kind of understand why Alexander Usyk would want to take the fight against Anthony Joshua now. Maybe he feels like Anthony Joshua is quite vulnerable compared to like if he was to fight him later on down the year or something. So he might want to jump at his chances now, but I guess that's down to his management team to discuss. And with the WBO as well, obviously them coming out and releasing a statement saying that AJ has to fight his mandatory next, or they has to relinquish the belt. Then for us, us as being selfish boxing fans is not what we want to hear. It's not what we want to see, but it's kind of, this is what the mandatories do, like this is how the sanctioning bodies work. And they did say that AJ has had 2 exceptions before, so I guess they're just going by the book. But to us, it's just like, come on, man. Like, this is the biggest fight in boxing right now for the undisputed heavyweight title. All the belts are going to be on the line. and you're going to enforce your mandatory on AJ now? Like at this stage, can't you just have one exception? Well, another exception, sorry. It's difficult, but I mean, I totally understand if Usyk doesn't want to step aside. Me being a selfish boxing fan, I would love to see him step aside and let AJ and Fury fight for all the belts, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, it's for all the belts. That's what we want to see. All the belts, AJ Fury, one man at the top of the division, undisputed heavyweight champion. We haven't had that since Lennox Lewis. And, it's about time we have it again. We want to have one man on top of the mountain. It took us ages to get here. To get to an undisputed title fight nowadays in any division, it's just so much work. It's so difficult considering the networks, considering, the sanctioning bodies, all the obligations you have to fulfill. So to get there, it is tough. But I think that we're almost there in this particular fight. Biggest fight in boxing right now. I'd love to see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Team Usyk say no, we want this fight next. We've worked our way in this position. I'm having my title shot, so I want to fight Fury. I want to be the undisputed heavyweight champion, and I want to fight you next. That could be down to him, but let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens with that. But as I said earlier, very positive discussions there with Eddie Hearn today, coming out on Sky Sports and saying that he's very positive that the fight will get done. 2-fight deal happening in May, first of all, and then maybe later on down the year. So let's see what happens. I remember there was a question on my stream actually last weekend, and it was about the fight possibly not happening in the UK. Now, that's a real possibility if these guys are to fight in May, right? Because when you think about it, the pandemic and everything else, I can't see it ending in May for the UK anyway. I can't see there being like full stadiums at that time of the year. I hear that London's currently going into Tier 3 on Wednesday. So again, that's kind of like another setback. So for there to be a full stadium in May, let's be honest, it's not realistic. That would tell you that it could be happening abroad. And some of the options abroad, you're looking at the likes of Saudi Arabia again, maybe somewhere in the Middle East. Could it happen in America? I'm not sure. I don't know what the situation is like over there. I know that they did have a few people in their stadium for, who was it? Errol Spence against Danny Garcia. So could it happen in America? I don't know. I guess that's one thing that they're going to have to look at. They're going to have to look at a site fee. But Eddie Hearn was positive in discussions today. He said that there's quite a lot of people that want to show the fight. And of course they do. I mean, when you look at the sort of fight it is, loads of people are going to want to screen it. So I guess that they've got that in the back of their head. And if the fight is to happen in May, I strongly doubt it would happen in the UK, which is a shame. I mean, it is like such a huge event over here in the UK. It would be the biggest fight over here in British boxing history, and it wouldn't happen over in the UK. That would be very sad. But I think for me now, as I said on the stream last weekend, I just want to see the fight happen now. Even if that is the fight not happening in the UK, I would take it. I would take it. So let's see what happens there, man. But there's a few comments here in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for leaving your comments. Big up, Jeff, man. What's happening, bro? Hope you're good, man. And he's left a comment saying, they need to throw Usyk that step-aside money so all the belts can be on the line. Salute, bro. Yeah, I agree, man. They need to give him that step-aside money. They need to pay him good. You know what I mean? They need to pay Usyk good and tell him, look, bro, you'll get your shot. Just let these guys fight for the undisputed heavyweight title. Then you'll be next. We can guarantee that. Put that in the contract or something, and then allow Usyk to take that step-aside money. Because for me, I don't know what you think, Jeff, but for me, I think that benefits Usyk as well. It allows him to, have another fight at heavyweight. There is obviously the risk of him slipping on a banana skin maybe and like losing to somebody up there. One punch could change everything in that division, but it also gives him the opportunity to get more accustomed to the weight and fighting these big guys, man. So I thought that the Chisora fight was a great experience for him, and he's only going to get better. So maybe it could work in everybody's favor if he did take the step-aside money. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, Jeff, big up for the comment, bro. I hope you're doing well. And we need to get you on the podcast soon as well, man. Get you and Shane on there. Shane was very good on there last week. So yeah, I definitely want to get you on there as well. So thank you for the comment, my man. Boxing Loser Stars, thank you for the comment. Hope you're doing well, bro. He says, Eddie Hearn running things. Do not expect Anthony versus Tyson anytime soon. I hope it goes down in 2021. Let's see what Usyk's team do. Yeah. See, I'm trying to be positive, man. I'm trying to be positive, and I'm hoping that we will get it. But what do you think? Do you think that Team Wilder will be able to get involved and maybe prevent that from happening? Or do you think that, Eddie Hearn's not being truthful in what he was saying? I don't know if you saw his interview today, but I'm hoping it goes down in 2021, just like you. And at the end of the day, Usyk's with Matchroom as well. So Eddie Hearn can just like, you know, pull Usyk's team to the side and say, look, man, let's let these guys just get the fight on. I'll guarantee you your shot next time. And yeah, we'll 100% get you your shot, but let these two fight first, and then we'll go from there. But again, let's see what happens, man. I guess it's all down to Usyk. Like, all the cards kind of sit with him. There are other hurdles to overcome, of course, but I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive, and hopefully we'll get that fight, man. So let's see what happens. Thank you for the comment, Boxing Loser Stars. Big up. Mohammed in the chat, what's going on, bro? I've been on Fan Talk a couple of times. Hope you're good. And his comment here says, what do you think Dillian Whyte should do if he beats Povetkin? Well, if Dillian Whyte beats Povetkin, that makes him the WBC mandatory challenger, doesn't it? So then we've got another problem, haven't we? He'll be in line to fight for the belts next. So again, didn't even think of that, you know. I was literally just thinking about Usyk, but Dillian Whyte could have a big say in this as well. And you get the feeling Dillian Whyte ain't going to just step aside and just say, yeah, let those guys fight. He's going to be like, nah, I want my shot. I've waited how long for a fight at the belt? I'm not waiting any longer. But first things first, he's got to take care of Povetkin, man. That was a devastating knockout defeat. It's looking like that fight will happen, towards the end of January. So, yeah, I'm guessing he just needs to focus directly on Povetkin, make sure he gets that win under his belt, and then you can start talking about the likes of, the winner of AJ and Fury. He'll be obligated to fight Tyson Fury, but I don't know. Maybe the WBC might allow Fury and AJ to fight regardless. I mean, they might not be as strict as the WBO. I know that Dillian Whyte was in a position to, fight Fury in, February or March, if he was to beat Povetkin, but that didn't happen. So I don't know what the situation is now. Obviously, a few months are going to pass by since then. So if Fury was to defeat Povetkin in the rematch, I don't know. I don't know if the WBC will enforce it straight away. Maybe they might make him wait a bit longer. Any of you guys that know anything further or want to add to that, let me know. Add it in the comment section below. But Dillian Whyte against Alexander Povetkin, look, man, Dillian Whyte, he was winning that fight up until the knockout. He was doing very well. But Povetkin, he's a seasoned vet, man. You know, he knows what he's doing. He knows his way around the ring. Always a danger with that left hook and that uppercut. And he landed it on Dillian Whyte, man. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that rematch, man. And Whyte needs to focus. And then if he can get the win, then we can start talking about what happens with him and Tyson Fury, AJ. So big up Daniel again in the chat. He says, would I be upset if AJ versus Fury was abroad? Now, I would a little bit, but I think at this stage, I don't know how you feel, Daniel, but at this stage for me, I'm just like, look, we need to just get this fight on, man. You know, like I just, there's too many instances in boxing where we've seen fights, super fights on the verge of being made, and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen because one of them's taken a defeat along the way. Now, I hope that doesn't happen in the case of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, but a couple of years ago, everybody was talking about Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder. That was a huge fight, man. I mean, everybody was talking about that over here and in the States. I don't know how popular Fury and AJ will be in the States, but over here in the UK, everybody's talking about Fury and AJ, and there is the real possibility, especially when you're a heavyweight, that these fights could get ruined. So I'll take the fight abroad in this case. I would take it. It's not ideal. It's not my first choice. Obviously, if I did have a choice, then it would be for Fury and AJ to happen in the UK. It does need to happen over here, but I don't know, man, with this pandemic and everything that's going on, when are they going to be allowed to get all the fans in the stadiums? It would be ideal. It wouldn't feel the same. But at the end of the day, I'll still take it. Man. I'll take it. So I don't know what you think about that, but I would be upset a little bit, but I'll still take it. So thank you for the comment, Daniel. And let's keep going here. Big up everybody in the chat, man. A lot of comments coming through. Thank you guys for posting your comments, man. It does mean a lot. So I've got another comment here from Ian Hamilton. He says, if you were a fighter now, what would your entrance music be if you could pick one? Mine would be Slipknot, Psychosocial. Yes, I'm a metalhead. Hey, bro, I put this question on my Sunday boxing poll the other day. Go check out my Instagram if you guys are not on it already. It's Boxing Lowdown, all one word. And I do a Sunday poll on there every Sunday. And I asked this particular question. I just said, like, if you guys were to have your own, like, entrance music, theme music, like, what would you pick? Like, what would you go for? Would you go for, like, the heavy metal, the hardcore music to get you pumped up? Or would you tend to go for, like, the kind of, like, casual type music, maybe like a David Haye, like his entrance music was kind of like relaxing and he used to bounce along. And Terence Crawford's ring entrance music, his ring entrance music against Kell Brook when he had Shaka Khan on there, I thought that was pretty cool. So I think personally, I'd probably go for something like that along those lines, something calm, get me relaxed. but I understand why people would go for like something to pump you up as well. So I guess it just kind of depends on your personality, what sort of person you are. But yeah, I think that I don't know what tune. I can't really think of a tune in my head right now. But yeah, there's loads, man. Loads come to mind. So big up for your comment, Ian. Jeff says it benefits Usyk. He gets a double payday. Yeah, absolutely, man. It does. If he gets a double payday, you know, he gets step aside money, then he's guaranteed to get money as well. Obviously, once he does get it on against the winner, and all the belts will be on the line as well. So yeah, it makes sense for Usyk to do it, but will he do it? I don't know. Let's hope he does, bro. Let's hope he does. So just going through the comments here. Boxing Loser Stars, thank you again for your comment, my man. He says Wilder is in lawsuit today versus Team Fury here. Oh, for real? I didn't know that actually, man. I didn't know that. I know that obviously that they were pushing it. They were going down the legal route, and I don't know about what you think, but I personally think that the reason why Fury didn't fight this month is because of the fact that, you know, Team Wilder are taking this whole thing to court, and maybe they had an injunction to prevent Fury from fighting. I know that's not what they said. I know that they said that it was down to other situations, but I think that this definitely played a part in it. I think Shelley Finkel and Team Wilder definitely had something to do with it. So it's a bit of a mess right now because Bob Arum's coming out and saying that he doesn't think that, you know, there's going to be any issues. He said that Fury's he's free from the contract now to fight Wilder. So I guess that's what they've got to deal with. But if Wilder was in a lawsuit today versus Team Fury, then I'd be interested to see, you know, what happened there. Probably be on Boxing Scene or something, wouldn't it? I have to check that out. But thank you for the comment there, man. And hopefully, I mean, it's just the whole Wilder situation. Look, I actually really like watching Wilder fight. You know, I do enjoy his fights. I think he's very exciting. But this whole situation with Tyson Fury, man, he was quiet for months. Didn't hear anything from him while, you know, Tyson Fury was kind of chasing that third fight. He was putting comments out there saying, like, where you at? Like, let's get this fight on, blah, blah, blah. I haven't got all day. But, you know, we didn't hear nothing. But obviously, Deontay Wilder's come out now for whatever reason. And he's trying to push for the third fight now. So I don't know. It's going to be a problem, man. I think it will be. I'm trying to be positive about AJ and Fury, but Team Wilder, they're obviously confident if they're taking this the legal route. So let's see what happens there. I mean, there's a lot still to go on with regards to that situation. Obviously, the WBO. So yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But thank you again for your comment. Big up Will Stokes. Thank you for your comment. He says, I don't think it benefits Usyk personally, because if Fury wins, then Usyk has to go through Fury instead of AJ to win a world title. And I'm sure he knows that's a harder style matchup for Usyk. Well, yeah, I mean, it could very well be. I think whoever he fights, whether it's AJ or Fury, it's a very difficult fight for Usyk, man. Fury, I suppose, in terms of style-wise, he's a lot taller, bigger, longer. He's very fleet-footed as well, very awkward. It'd be an interesting fight, wouldn't it? Fury against Usyk, man. How would you guys see that going? I guess with AJ, he's more, you know, he's very more upright. Usyk wouldn't have to, you know, I think he wouldn't have to go looking for AJ as much. I think it'd be very, like, wouldn't be as tactical as, like, maybe against Tyson Fury. But yeah, I think both styles give Usyk problems, in my personal opinion. But yeah, maybe the fight against Fury would be, it would be more of a harder style matchup for him. I guess you're right. But again, I mean, styles make fights at the end of the day. I mean, Fury could beat AJ, AJ could beat Fury, man. We just have to wait and see. But I hear what you're saying with that comment, though, for sure. Will's back again here. Let me get his comment up. Usyk knows Fury is the tougher matchup. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I kind of gathered that from your comment. But again, yeah, thank you for the comment, my man. Boxing Loser Stars again. He says Usyk will do nothing versus Fury, and Anthony as well. He will do nothing. Well, what's your response to that, Will? I mean, Usyk, for me, at heavyweight, I need to see more. If I'm being honest, I need to see more. I know he's got the skills. I know he's got the ability to you know, we've seen what he can do. His credentials at amateur level and professional level are unbelievable. You know, he's done it at the heavyweight division as an amateur and as a cruiserweight as a pro. But against these big heavyweights, man, I'm just very, I don't know. I thought, again, he's not the hardest to hit. And I just think, will he be able to take a full flush shot from the likes of AJ or these giants at heavyweight, man? I don't know. It remains to be seen. I mean, he took Chisora's shots pretty well, to be fair, because Chisora did land on Usyk. He did make it uncomfortable for him at times, and I thought he boxed very well. But there's a difference for me between Derek Chisora and the big giants like Tyson Fury and AJ. So he's got the skills, he's got the capabilities to do what he can in that division, and it's very intriguing to see Usyk at heavyweight. some great style matchups to be made up there for him. I mean, like him and Andy Ruiz, for example, him against Deontay Wilder, him against Fury or AJ. I mean, all of these fights are very intriguing. He's like a wild card in this division, man, because we know what he can do. We know what his skill set's like. We know how great he is as a fighter. But yeah, against these big giants, I don't know. I think I need to see more. I'd like to see him in one more fight personally, if it was my opinion. But let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. Will back in there in the chat. Thank you for the comment, bro. He says, I think AJ and Fury beat him, but I think Fury has an easier night of it personally. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough there. Yeah, I can't really argue with that comment. Boxing Loser Star says, I have clubbed to death. Matrix film theme tune. Yeah, that's response to Ian Hamilton's question. And Boxing Loser Stars again says, I saw the gloves wrapped and we saw them removed live on television. I like Deontay, a huge fan, but there was no glove scandal. Yeah, totally agree. Literally, I agree with everything with that, with what you've just said there. Yeah, where are they going with that anyway? Has Wilder and his team, have they kind of like pursued action with regards to that? I know they're trying to get the fight back on, but what are they doing with regards to all these allegations? Like, have they reported it to a commission or anything like that? Or like, have they filed a case? What's going on in that situation? Because if they really did believe that Fury was up to no good, then surely they'd be filing some papers with regards to that, right? You know, it's dangerous conduct. I mean, it could get, if that really did happen, then, you know, that's a serious allegation to make. So where are they going with it? That's what I want to know. Yeah, big up everybody in the chat, man. Thank you all for the comments so far. Like I said, Fury and AJ, they could fight in May 2021. Let's see what happens there. I want to get you guys' thoughts as well on Canelo and Callum Smith fighting this weekend, man. I mean, that's a big fight. We've had a great winter schedule for this year, despite everything that's going on. So I'm grateful to the boxing gods for making all that stuff happen, all these fights. We've had some great fights, and they continue, man. I think Canelo against Callum Smith is a very good fight. You know, I think that it's a great fight in the super middleweight division, first of all. You've got the #1 ranked fighter in the world, according to many, with Canelo Alvarez, a multi-weight world champion, going up against the undefeated, you know, recognized super middleweight champion. He's got the ring belt. Callum Smith, he won the World Boxing Super Series at super middleweight as well. He's a lot taller than Canelo. He's got a much longer height advantage, much longer reach advantage, and it's going to be an interesting fight. He's got pop himself in his hands, and will he be able to defeat Canelo? It'll be very difficult, in my opinion, but Callum Smith has got the tools to do it, man. Will he be able to do it, though? It's a tough ask for me, because how is he going to beat Canelo? I mean, Canelo, he's got a great chin, first of all. He's got a granite chin. I think the only time I've really seen Canelo hurt in that ring was when who was he fighting against? Miguel Cotto's brother, wasn't it? When he got wobbled, and that was when he was very young in his career. And then after that, I can't remember seeing Canelo hurt really since then. No, he hasn't been hurt since then. And, you know, he's got a great chin, great skills, and he's also got the judges on his side as well, because let's be honest, man, if you're going to the scorecards with Canelo, then you're going to have to be, you know, you're going to have to be 3 rounds up as soon as the fight starts to have a chance of getting a draw. Let's be honest. So it's going to be very hard for Callum Smith to defeat Canelo, in my opinion. Let's see what he does. Could be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to that fight because I do rate Callum Smith. I think he is obviously the best out of all the Smith brothers, and he's going to want to avenge the loss that his brother suffered to Canelo a few years ago. Maybe he might be able to get some tips from his brother as to how to approach that fight as well. I mean, there won't be many more people to get better advice from than somebody that's actually shared the ring with him. So I'm sure that Callum Smith will be able to get all of that under his belt, and it'll be an interesting fight. He's going to have to, for me, he's going to have to box long in that fight. Kind of what Kovalev was doing. I thought Kovalev was doing okay until he got knocked out, but his punches didn't really have much authority on Canelo. He was pumping out a good jab, Kovalev was, but it wasn't enough to keep Canelo off of him, and then Canelo caught up with him and caught him late. But yeah, I think that Callum Smith has the power to keep him honest, but like I said, Canelo's got a great chin. So how do you beat him? Do you beat him on a wide point decision, or do you will he be able to knock him out? Will be interesting, man. But big up Ian Hamilton again. Going back to AJ against Fury, he's saying, I'm trying to be positive about AJ versus Fury happening next year. If it comes down to it, I'll accept it abroad just so we can see it. I just want the undisputed fight, as Hatman would say. Yeah, I totally agree. That's literally how I feel. You know, obviously I want it to happen in the UK, in a big stadium. That fight deserves to be in a big stadium. Do you know what I mean? It deserves to have, like, for the British public, I mean, we deserve to see it. You know, all packed out Wembley Stadium. The country's literally divided over Fury and AJ right now, man. It's crazy. Like, we need to see it in a stadium, but unfortunately, with what's going on, we can't always get what we want, man. And as of right now, like we've got going through a pandemic, as I said, and I think that the window opportunity for making the fight for the undisputed heavyweight title is small, considering the hurdles involved, considering the sanctioning bodies. It's going to be very hard to make that fight for undisputed. So with that in mind, I think that I'll take it right now. I'll just take it as it is, man. I'll take Fury and AJ, even if it was in like Saudi Arabia or Dubai, just for the history. So yeah, big up for your comment, Ian. Thank you again. And going back to Boxing Loser Stars here in the chat, he's put Deontay's team have filed the case and to the commission, they say they have hard evidence. Okay, cool. I know that they've obviously presented the some of the evidence in that video that he put out, but I didn't know if he actually filed it to the commission or not yet. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that then. You know, like what's going to happen? Like when are we going to get like, you know, an update on it from the commission or anybody else? But I'm guessing that's what they're doing behind the scenes. We haven't heard much from his team as of now, so I guess that's what they're working on. What do you guys in the chat think? Do you think that he has a case at all? Do you think it's just a bit of sour grapes there? Like, what do you guys think about it? I know what you think about it, Boxing Loser Stars, but anybody else in the chat, feel free to add a comment and let me know. Big up Daniel Wilson-Singh again in the chat. He said, I think Canelo will hurt Callum to the body. Yeah, so do I. I think Canelo is one of the best body punchers in the game right now. Callum Smith can be quite upright. You know, he boxes very tall, like upright, but Canelo will know that he's going to have to break him down to the body, and he's a ferocious body puncher, man. He stopped Liam Smith with body punches, you know. I think he might get to Callum. I do. And as much as I like Callum Smith and I would like to see him do it, I just think that Canelo, for me, he's definitely a favourite. Not ruling out an upset altogether, but I do think that Canelo can have his way with taller fighters as well. I mean, they're not on the same level, but look what he did to Rocky Fielding, for example. Like, he broke him down, didn't take him long to do it. Callum Smith's obviously a much better fighter, as we've seen. But I think that Canelo, yeah, if he's able to work inside, then yeah, it might be a long night for Callum Smith, man. Will Stokes back there in the chat. Thank you for the comment, my man. He says, I think for AJ, the more fights he can get in before the Fury fight, the better for him personally. We'll give him more time to build confidence as well as more time to settle into this new hybrid style. Yeah, I know. But I just think, like, we've got to make it now. I think we've got to just make the fight now, man. You know what? Like, the Ruiz fight, for example, you could lose. I mean, you go up against any of these heavyweights, man. You could go in there as the favourite, but one punch changes everything, as we saw in the Ruiz fight. What sort of fights would you like to see him in before Fury, if it was up to you then, Will? Like, who would you like to see him in there with before? Because how do you prepare for someone like Fury? Who's out there that's going to be able to prepare AJ for him, and much more than we can now? I think Pulev, he was never that sort of guy that's going to go in there and, you know, box like Fury or anything, but he is a pretty good boxer. He does have a sound jab. Again, it's risky. You know, you go in there, if you don't capitalize on your chance right now, then I think that there is a real danger of someone losing, and then we're not able to see the super fight. So ideally for AJ, yeah, but I think right now he's kind of still learning on the job. He became a world champion very early in his career, and he's been learning on the job. You know, he's had a bump along the way, but he's managed to rectify that. He beat Ruiz in the rematch, learned a lot from that whole situation. So I definitely agree with what you're saying, but I think they just need to make the fight now. I take it you have Fury as a strong favourite then over AJ. Will, I take you have him as a strong favourite over AJ. I think that it's a lot more closer than people think. I do have Fury as the favourite, but I think that AJ has, you know, he's coordinated, he punches hard, and he can present Fury with a lot of problems as well. So, yeah, let's see what happens, man. Boxing Loser Stars again, he says, I have Canelo late stoppage, Callum only 8 weeks to train. Canelo been training since March, and we all know the drugs he takes too. Well, yeah, bro, yeah. Yeah, well, who's doing that? The WBC, I know the belt's on the line for that fight, isn't it? So I'm guessing that both of them would have to have enrolled onto the clean boxing program, VADA. Let's see what happens there, man. Daniel Wilson-Singh again in the chat. That wasn't drugs, Boxing Loser Stars. That was chicken, yeah. That was some of that tainted meat, man. Some of that Mexican tainted meat. You know what I mean? But big up Ian Hamilton in the chat. He says, regarding Canelo versus Smith, Callum is going to have to produce the performance of his life to beat Canelo. But like Mayweather, I just can't bet against Canelo because he's that good. But I hope Callum does it. Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Boxing Loser Stars again, he says, Callum will be taking the Rocky Fielding knee. Yeah, bro. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough. I'm not ruling him out completely, but like I said, how do you beat Canelo, man? I mean, very hard to knock out, very hard to get a points win over, and he's very good. You know, all of those three, like when you factor all of those in, it's hard to pick against him at this point, man. But you never know. This is boxing, man, and we've seen a lot more stranger things than Canelo-Smith beating him. So yeah, let's see what happens. Got Daniel again here in the chat. He's put, as much as I don't want to see this fight yet, Usyk is not bad prep for the Fury fight. Obviously not the size. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I guess that's probably the closest you can get actually to you know, AJ fighting Fury with regards to style-wise matchups. Anyway, obviously with the dimensions, it's nowhere near the same. Usyk's a lot smaller, but boxing ability, yeah, I guess you're right with that particular comment. Boxing Loser Star says there is no VADA for the Callum versus Canelo fight. It's been closed out of the fight. Well, what does that tell you? I mean, I don't know, man. That's not ideal at all. Not ideal for Callum Smith. So Callum Smith just allowed that then. Allowed there to be no VADA. Very interesting considering that Canelo's failed drugs test before. But I guess that they just wanted to make the fight happen. Maybe that was inserted in the contract before and they're very confident of beating him and they just wanted to get that fight on. But we've also got Triple G fighting this weekend, guys. He's got a mandatory defense. I'm not going to butcher the guy's name. I'm not going to embarrass myself on here on this stream. But I don't know much about him. I know that he's undefeated, I believe. He's from Poland, isn't he, this opponent? But I don't know much more about him. I mean, he doesn't have a great knockout record from what I've seen. And Triple G is another one of those fighters. Unless this guy is, you know, very fleet-footed and a good boxer, I'm going to have to catch up and look at some videos on him. Then how does he beat Triple G? Triple G's got a great chin. But then again, when you speak about it, he is getting older. He is 38 years old. Triple G hasn't been in action since, that fight against Davydenko. And he struggled in that fight, man. He struggled a lot. So Triple G, he's definitely not the same fighter as he was. But can this guy from Poland put a dent in him? Can he cause an upset? Haven't heard much about him, I'll be honest. I'm not going to come in here and pretend that I know everything about this guy because I don't. So if anyone in the chat does, let me know. We can talk about it. But I'm guessing Triple G is going to be the strong favourite. But yeah, I need to catch up and look at some videos on him. I'll do that before this week's podcast that I share with my dad on Thursday. If any of you guys that are in tune with the channel and have watched some of the podcasts previously, check them out. They're very good. But we'll be giving a proper breakdown of that fight, as well as Callum Smith and Canelo and everybody else. So yeah, make sure you guys tune into that podcast as well. And big up Will in the chat as well. Again, thank you for the comment. He says, well, I think the only fight he's going to get is the Usyk fight. And whilst Usyk and Fury have a lot of differences, they are easily the two most skilled in the division. So there's that. And beating a former undisputed champ will be great for AJ's confidence as well. In my opinion, probably be his best all-time win topping Klitschko. You reckon? You reckon him beating Usyk will be bigger than Klitschko? Well, when you think about it, Klitschko was past his best despite the great performance that he put in. If AJ was to topple Usyk, yeah, it would be a great win for him. Will it be his best win? That's a good question, actually. Usyk, well, look at it, man. He's undefeated. Like I said earlier, he's got great credentials, former undisputed champion at cruiserweight, tremendous fighter, Alexander Usyk. And you're right with regards to the skill sets. You definitely have to put Fury and Usyk as the top two with regards to, you know, what they bring to the table in terms of their skills. And if AJ was to, you know, do a sound job on beating Usyk, then yeah, I'm sure going into the Fury fight, he would be even more confident. So you are right there. It's just a bit of a banana skin, isn't it? I think I'm just worried. In my opinion, I'm just worried that something could prevent this big fight from happening. I'm just like, let's just get it now. You know, like if you're gambling and you're like, you know, you're on the machine or something and like you win money and then like you have the chance to cash out or you want to carry on. I'm just at that stage now. I'm just like, nah, let's just get this fight on because I'm worried that something could prevent it from happening. A bit like Spence and Crawford. Like I want that fight to happen now. Will it happen? I'm not sure. But yeah, we just need to see it happen ASAP because there's something could prevent it from happening. There could be a bump in the way somewhere. So that's how I feel about it, man. Boxing Loser Star says, yeah, you're getting 5 million plus Callum team accepted it. Weak gravy. I hear you. Ian Hamilton says, Triple G needs other fighters other than Canelo because he only seems to want that. He needs a statement win to remind everyone who he is. Otherwise, people will forget him quickly. Yeah, seems like Triple G is very, very focused on Canelo, man. I mean, there are other fights out there that I want to see him in. I want to see Triple G take on Jamal Charlo. I want to see that fight. You know, I'd want to see that more than the Canelo fight. I don't know what you guys think. That might be controversial to some of you. But for me personally, I've seen these guys fight twice. Both of them have been very close fights. I understand why Triple G would like to fight Canelo as much as he can because that's the money fight and Charlo would be a dangerous fight. But me as a boxing fan, what I would want, if you were to ask me, if Triple G was to get rid of the Polish fighter this weekend, then I'd love to see him fight Jamal Charlo, man. Billy Joe Saunders. You know, there's loads of fights there to be made, man. I don't really want to see Triple G and Canelo next. I think that I've seen it twice, and like I don't want to see the third fight right now. There are other fights out there to be made. It's a great division. Let's see him up against Jamal Charlo. Let's see him up against Billy Joe Saunders. Let's see him up against somebody else. But if you're in Team Triple G, you understand why he wants the Canelo fight, because that's the money fight. You know, there are a lot of people that thought he won the first fight and even the second fight. So, yeah, he's going to want that money fight. He's only getting older, and he's probably out of his prime now, so he's going to want to cash in on that fight. He fought Derevyanchenko, and that was like, you know, he nearly lost that. You know, it was very close on the cards, that anyway. So, yeah, I understand why Triple G would want the Canelo fight, but like you, Ian, I totally agree that he needs to. I'd like to see him fight other people, man. You know, the likes of Jamal Charlo and everything else. So, listen, yeah, I'm going to keep it short on this stream, guys. I'm not going to be on for too much longer, but thank you all for your comments and everybody getting involved. I'm going to be doing a few more of these live streams. And for those that are watching in the chat, thank you for your comments. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Again, like I said, we're not really there yet with regards to numbers, but I think if I do more interactive streams like these, I think that, yeah, we'll be able to pick up more interaction, hopefully enough. But I appreciate everyone that's hung in there and stayed in this chat. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Help get the stream out there, and like, let's just talk boxing, man. But as I said, just to round it up, very positive news with regards to AJ and Fury. Eddie Hearn released an interview on Sky Sports today saying that he's hoping that the fight can happen next year in May 2021. He's, you know, obviously he's still cautious that there are still obligations and there are still hurdles in the way. But yeah, let's see what happens, man. It's very positive news. Very positive news. So big up Will here in the chat. And this will be my last comment before I sign out. He says, I hear you're just getting the fight on now. And by the way, I don't have Fury a massive favourite over AJ, but I do have him a favourite. However, I do think that AJ is evolving his ability recently. And he also says, I kind of feel people overrate Canelo's power. He's gone the distance like 20 times, hasn't he? Well, he's gone the distance a bit, but he has got power. He has definitely got power. But Canelo-Smith, he's got a sound chin. I don't think he's got a bad chin at all. And he's the naturally bigger man at super middleweight. He's fought at super middleweight for pretty much all of his career. This is only Canelo's, his second fight at super middleweight. So let's see how Canelo adjusts to that, man. You know, he's moved up from what? Canelo was a welterweight. I think he started off as. So, yeah, I mean, he's not the natural super middleweight at all, just like he wasn't a natural light heavyweight, but he's very big, man. And he seems to carry the weight well anyway. But I think that he's got decent power, but he's got a great chin. It's going to be hard for Canelo-Smith out there. But like I said, he's got ability. And let's just see what happens, man. And as for your comment with regards to AJ and Fury, you don't have Fury a massive favourite over AJ. I'm with you. I'm literally the same. I don't have Fury as a massive favourite, but I do think that he's got to be the favourite. You know, his two best wins over Fury has the best win over anyone. Like in terms of resumes, I know people will look at AJ's resume and will say that he's fought more opponents. But when you see like who Fury's actually beaten, you know, he beaten Wilder like in his backyard, beaten Klitschko in his backyard. I mean, those two can't really be topped. Even though AJ has more of the quantity on his resume, you can't really argue with Fury being number one right now. So he deserves to be the favourite, and I think most people will have him as the favourite. But I also think that like you can't write AJ off at all. I think that AJ definitely has a chance, and there'll be people out there picking AJ as well. So yeah, big up for your comment, Will. I know I said that was the last comment, but I'm going to go to one more. DS, thank you for joining the chat, and thank you for your comment as well. He says, I don't see AJ fighting Fury next. I reckon it'll be AJ versus Usyk and Fury versus Wilder. You know what? Deep down in my gut, I can see that happening as well. Like I said, I'm trying to be positive, and I don't really want to end it on a negative note, but you're probably right, to be fair. Let's see what happens, man. If you guys haven't checked out the interview on Sky Sports, go and have a look at it. Eddie Hearn was pretty optimistic that the fight will happen. So let's see what happens there. Will there be another fight in between? Will there be like a semi-final with AJ Usyk and Fury versus Wilder? Let's see, man. And thank you all guys for tuning in. And big up, Will. Yeah, thank you for your comment, bro. And like I said, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're doing more live streams like these, just talking anything really. Anything boxing, we'll chat about it. So I'll see you guys soon. And thank you for joining the stream. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening.